welcome to yet another edition of Expressions. We have with us Rahul Agarwal, CEO of Lenovo. And if you've been following his Twitter feed, a huge fitness enthusiast and a votary of work from home as well. So, yay, good for us. Rahul, thank you so much for joining us. And I'd like to begin with, of course, your other avatar as a fitness expert and talk a little about how you've managed to keep yourself fit. Although you've also been cooking delicious stuff, I can see.
Yeah, hi Kaveri, and pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me here. I think fitness is not new to me. It's something that knocked my door 15 years ago, and I've been quite regular. And a lot of people who are regular would tell you that it's kind of infectious. It becomes part of life.
Right.
It's like brushing your teeth. You can't get on with your day without that. Uh, I think in this COVID-19 times, I just feel that I have a little more time to do it. So my workout time has gone up, and my frequency has gone up even further. So I've never felt fitter in life. And while I think we are all waiting for normalcy to come back, I think there are small buy products that some of us are seeing, and I think improve fitness, more healthy eating. I think that's very important. More healthy eating is happening, and it's just going to a new level. And I didn't think that my fitness level could reach this level because there's always so much of pressure, travel,
Yeah.
early morning meetings, commute, and now I just feel that I have a lot more time and a lot more efficiency to be able to control my time.
You talked about 15 years ago, you sort of saw the light. What happened 15 years ago?
No, no, nothing. I was never obese or I didn't have a medical condition. It was always on, off and on. But I just started hitting the gym. I think I was a kind of a skinny, scrawny guy when I was young. But I built a small paunch, because when you do a desk job and you eat a lot, it is bound to happen to Indian bodies.
Yeah.
And I think my wife kind of challenged me to get out of.
Great. Let's talk a little about work from home. You've become quite a votary. I don't know if it's recent or it's a gradual phenomenon, but what are the advantages to it, and why should it not become the new normal? I know people hate this new normal, but
Mm.
why should it not be the new normal?
See, Kaveri, I must say this at the outset that I'm telling everyone around me, my
Yeah.
team, my you know friends and my family and my colleagues, that when you're in the middle of a storm, that is not the best time to take a long-term decision on things.
Right.
So, because when you're in the storm, your mind is not calm, things are not normal, and everything looks like it's an extreme.
Right.
So, I am not really advocating taking long-term decisions. However, a storm makes you introspect a little bit, reflect a little bit, and kind of tends to open up your mind to some perspectives. It also is a test of your character.
Yeah.
Tough times, really bring the best or the worst out of you. So, therefore, I have not made up my mind what should the long term be. I think, balance is always a good approach. A hybrid approach is a good approach. And I will bring in two, three elements. If we look at the single biggest variable that we should all care about,
Hmm.
uh, the real thing that we care about. Yeah, I mean, in the end, we can say happiness.
Yeah.
All roads lead to happiness.
Right.
But I can say a more tangible thing is quality of life.
Right.
And quality of life, at least in the big cities in India, gets marred by the amount of time people spend on the road.
Right.
It's not just the time, it's the quality of commute, it's the honking, it's the indiscipline,
Yeah.
it's the stress that people go through, which is why I stopped driving many years ago. By the way, it really helped me.
Yeah.
So first is I think you can improve the quality of life of people through that. Two is that today technology is available.
Yeah.
The same argument could have worked 10 years ago also. But no, today we are doing this event, and I just came out of a press conference
Right.
um, where journalists from all over the country have logged in. Earlier, only journalists from a city used to attend because
Yeah.
we can't,
Exactly.
right? So today technology is available. Three is that if you can cross the wall of trust, then you are giving flexibility to people. I have more flexibility. I'm telling everyone I'm sleeping at least half an hour more. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
I'm having hot lunch at home.
Yeah.
I'm having my adrak wali chai at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m., which I never got because my office can give me good coffee, but they can't do that
Yeah.
adrak because it's all machine made.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying these things. I'm spending more time with my family. I'm also getting more time to think.
Yeah.
Earlier, I used to have 12 meetings. Today, I'm probably having 8 or 9 meetings and maybe a couple of hours to think. So, my view is that I perhaps I'm thinking more strategic. I'm taking a call with the right frame of mind. I'm not rushing from one meeting to other all the time. And I think uh, it's not just my experience. I think many other people would be feeling the same. The flip side, however, is a reality.
Hmm.
Firstly, many people in our country may not have comfortable living spaces.
Right.
Corporates today give air conditioning in a house. AC is still a bit of a luxury product. Number two, people may not have private workplace.
Exactly.
Number three, which people will not talk about, is that there are always this 5 or 10% of the people who will take advantage,
Yeah.
right? And it used to bother me a lot, Kaveri. In my younger days, I used to go after those guys,
Yeah.
and then I realized it's a stupid thing to do. You got to think of your 90% of the people who are sincere.
I agree.
Focus more on the 20% who actually make a difference,
Yeah.
because those 10%, even if they come to office, they will not contribute.
But they're very irritating, the 10%. They stick in your craw, don't they? As a team leader, it's very irritating to have that.
But you have to move beyond that. And
Yeah.
I say that not because I want to give some gyan on this
Yeah.
session, because I've gone through that.
Right.
I used to really get worked up, and I have made some decisions looking at those 10% in mind, which actually did not make sense for the balanced 90%.
Right.
That was bad management from my part.
In what sense? Like what decisions?
For example, I mean, you'll probably laugh at it, but
No, no,
15,
I really empathize with this because I've been there as well.
see, 12 years ago, I was running a global marketing hub for Lenovo
Right.
from Bangalore, and some people were very indisciplined. In those days, you had to come to office.
Right.
So I made coming to office very strict, the
Right.
office timing very strict,
Right.
like a government office. And I think it just didn't make sense. It bothered people a lot, and I realized it later. Yes, those 10% of the people came on time, but the
Right.
other 90% came on time but didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Their motivation may have gone down. And the 10% of the people, anyway, it's not that they delivered more. So that's the path we have to
Right.
cross. We have to trust people, knowing that some of them will misuse the trust. This work from home is not new.
Yeah.
I know some of my friends in past have gone and watched movies when they were working from home.
Yeah.
Um, but we have to move from an input-based measurement to an output-based
Yeah.
measurement. I say, so what if they watched a movie?
Yeah.
What are they supposed to deliver for the company?
Right.
Are they delivering that?
Yeah.
For all you know, they may be watching a movie in the office. Today you
Yeah.
can know with all
Yeah.
the
Exactly. And maybe the movie gave them a great idea which helped you in some decision at some point. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, maybe. So I think to me, it is a mix of quality of life, uh, technology, not focusing on the 10%, and most importantly, uh, transforming ourselves to be able to trust the larger ecosystem, which is a big issue in the Indian management culture.
Yeah. Let's move a little into the Lenovo space and your initiative, which I find very interesting, of Smarter Ed. The whole idea that you can find a teacher anywhere, and if you want to be a teacher, there's a great space to log into. I think that's a tremendous idea. How is it taking shape?
So I keep telling my team that finally all organizations exist to for commercial reasons.
Yeah,
All human beings exist for selfish pursuits, if I may just
yeah,
say. But I think we all have to go beyond that and do things that will leave a legacy,
yeah,
that will leave an impact on the society.
right,
And if you look at India, I think that the top three problems are poverty,
yeah,
education, and health.
health, as
Right?
we can see.
Right. So now Lenovo as an organization, um, we thought that through the use of technology, can we contribute in one of the three causes? And we chose education because technology directly has a role to play.
Yeah,
India has a shortage of 1 million teachers.
yeah,
And if we were to really look at the quality of teachers, especially in some of the government schools, I think it's far below par. So we've just launched this platform where we are inviting people with good intent and good competence who are willing to dedicate some time to come online and teach children who need. So a teacher in Bangalore, a math teacher in Bangalore can teach a student who's maybe in a small town in Bihar, and all that individual needs is maybe a smartphone or a tablet or a computer, but even a smartphone, which I think is there in every household.
yeah.
So our challenge here there is really to reach out to those people and tell them about this platform. It's
So,
early days.
yeah. How many have you managed to match so far?
Oh, the number keeps changing. I didn't take an update this week, but there are thousands of teachers who registered,
Right.
and a multiple of that as students. Our challenge is to really reach out. I wish I could spend money giving ads and
Yeah.
but I think it's commercial activity has limitations on that front, and we've invested a lot in building the platform. So slowly, through word of mouth and through our social media activities, the word is spreading. And I would still say that I don't want to celebrate. It's a great idea by our team. Our marketing team came up with that idea, and uh, it's a pilot stage. We will see. At the end of it, we will do surveys of students whether they really felt it was effective or not.
So, going forward, what is the role of laptops in online education and smartphones? Unfortunately, in India, smartphones have a that's your adrak wali chai that's coming.
Yes, yes.
Great.
This is my third chai of the day.
Well done.
This is my indulgence.
So, as I was saying, what really is the future of online education, given that we use smartphones for entertainment and we use them so well, and then when it comes to education and enlightenment, suddenly we feel that no, this is something that's only for entertainment. Why do we have this divide in our minds?
No, so I think people are using the devices for a whole lot of uses.
Hmm.
Primary is entertainment.
Yeah,
That is because youth is the primary user of devices
right,
in India, and the youth wants to entertain themselves. The
right.
youth is not very keen to educate themselves, and I have this battle with my children every day. Not every day because I become wise. maybe once in 15 days, and I lose the battle. I think the consumption depends on how uh, the education is fed. So historically, and the education system is the biggest laggard in terms of change.
Right.
If you look at the course curriculum, um, Kaveri, you will agree with me that it's mostly outdated,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Society has changed, the challenges have changed,
Yeah.
um, and therefore there's a need to revamp the education right from kindergarten to
Right.
college, and that has not happened. Likewise, I think schools and colleges continue to be physical, and now this COVID has forced them to impart online education.
Yeah.
Now, see the possibilities.
Yeah.
Again, my children, now my son is going to go to college, but my daughter would really complain about the bus ride.
Yeah.
It's long and it's not great, and so she's happy that she can sleep half an hour more. Two, now the good education institutes have a capacity and they have high cost, and therefore only people who can afford to pay a certain amount can get educated.
Right.
But today, one teacher can teach 500 students at the same time,
Mm.
right? Instead of 25 or 40 or
Yeah.
50. Look at the top universities in US or UK or Canada.
Yeah.
They can actually teach a lot more students.
Yeah.
So quality is suspect. There are social aspects to it because we all learn outside the classroom as much as in the classroom,
Right.
which is why I think it'll be hybrid. Something will be hybrid, and maybe both offices and schools will say, okay, come to school for 3 days and stay at home for 2 days, so
Right.
that you get the best of both.
Right.
And I think technology again can also improve the quality of education
Right.
because see, education of any kind is better when it's interactive.
Mm.
Now, Indian values are such that people hesitate to ask questions.
Yeah.
But if you ask them to type it out, they will. So when I do my online in office, I get so many questions now
Huh.
because all somebody has to do is type.
Right. Right.
Otherwise, you have to raise your hand and you have to be, or will I say the right word and
Right.
how will I sound and blah blah blah. So I think if there is more interaction, then I think the quality of education can also be better.
Rahul, I was very struck by one of your tweets recently where you said 24% unemployment and 11 crore people losing jobs. Government didn't have foresight and private sector didn't have the empathy to manage for 3 months. Question mark. I mean, this is a really powerful statement coming from a CEO. And it puts into question, as it should, and a lot of people have had this question, that really what were people doing running businesses if they couldn't sustain it even for 3 months and couldn't pay salaries? It's not just a question of empathy, it's also a question of good business sense, isn't it?
Yeah, I think firstly, when I tweet as an individual.
But
You
I
know,
applaud that. I think you have tremendous courage as well.
yeah, I get a lot of feedback from all kind of people, but I say this is me, and I don't want to. I can change, but I don't want to change. And of course, there are boundaries.
Right.
All emotions don't come out. But I think you said it. A business who can't sustain for 3 months
Yeah,
was not a business well done.
exactly.
Uh, and I've also seen that the small and medium enterprises, which we all say are the backbone,
Hmm.
they many of them did not display character.
Yeah,
They were just way too quick to ask people to vacate the houses. If you
yeah,
look at landlords,
yeah.
they, I mean, our urban society was totally managed by the immigrants,
Right.
right? If you look
Whom we
at the,
call immigrants. I mean, they're
yeah, who we
actually
call, who we call,
all
I
of
don't
us
think.
are immigrants.
Absolutely. So that, it just catches on. Thanks for
Yeah,
pointing it out. They're all our country folks. And I think some of them are, I find then very sincere, especially from the Northeast, very
Yeah.
capable, very
Oh, yes.
sincere.
Very hardworking.
And yeah, and we just couldn't keep them for 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's a reflection of our society. It's not government or private sector. It's everyone. I know people who didn't pay their maids
Yeah.
for even 1 month. Who said कि नहीं हो पाएगा. So this is how we are. I don't think, see, government, we should never criticize the government, because government is a reflection of the
Exactly.
society,
Yeah.
and even the bureaucracy is.
Yeah.
So if they are being inefficient, it's because we are inefficient.
Right.
The harsh reality.
Right. There's so much talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, Rahul, and you are in the unenviable position of running a China-led company. How does that feel? How do you reconcile the two?
No, no, I don't. To be honest, I had a live panel discussion with some of the other MNC CEOs on a TV channel, and all of us said the same thing. We don't know what that means, to be honest.
Right.
People are interpreting. See, anything that the Prime Minister will utter or say, people will overanalyze and
Right.
interpret. I don't think it's being interpreted in the right spirit,
Right.
because the world is integrated,
Yeah.
and there is export and there is import.
Yeah.
We need FDI.
Yeah.
We need FDI in stock markets, in our manufacturing. So Atmanirbhar cannot mean isolation.
Yeah.
It means that India has to become self-sufficient. Which who will dispute with that? India has to grow our per capita GDP at $2,000 is pitiable. Uh,
Right.
Half of our population lives in substandard living conditions.
Right.
I think that is not being Atmanirbhar. Our fiscal deficit is quite high, even if I
Yeah.
don't look at this year.
Yeah.
Our exports are not that high. Our balance of payment can improve. So all those things, I think, to me, is more about us becoming Atmanirbhar than anything else.
Do you have a wish list from the government, Rahul, that you would like them to do? Because you've heard of so many packages, you've heard of so many
Hmm.
announcements, and I think by and large Indians have shown tremendous patience in this lockdown, and quite a bit of self-discipline too. At least I think so. But do you feel that the government ought to do more for business?
See, there is no end to the wish list,
Hmm.
and the wish list will always be there, whatever the government does.
Hmm.
When I tend to go too fast on this track, I then tend to ask, hey, if I were the government, what would I do?
Right.
The government has a very tough job, much tougher than the corporates, and you can't please everyone. But yes, I do feel that it is assumed that the large enterprise will take care of themselves,
Right.
um, which I think is not true, because the our playground may be bigger, but our challenges are bigger too.
Right.
So right now, I think if I were to ask the government to do something, I would say do something to pull up the demand.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think supply side is being taken care of. Credit is a big facilitator. Government is doing the right things if the money actually flows in. But the sentiment is down. So can the government give some positive messages? I think by doing an early lockdown, it sent panic waves everywhere, and people are losing jobs. People are not getting increment. So I think unlikely wish list is what I'm told. But I think this is the right time to give more money to people and think of the long term. So I still would say that if GST can be rationalized, if income tax can be rationalized, I think there'll be more money. If positive messages can be given by the government, um, then we are trying to work on demand both rationally and emotionally. As Lenovo, yeah, the wish list is endless. We would like to do more manufacturing. We would like some incentives to move manufacturing here, and those things, ease of business, all that is standard. But right now, I think not just for our industry, but for the larger good of the economy, government will have to must take the bitter pill of leaving more money in the hands of the middle class.
Right.
So they are the ones who will spend.
Rahul, you've also talked about the fact that you've tweeted. See, I've been following your tweets quite closely. That the people we call the migrants may not return, or
Hmm.
not all of them will return. Uh, does that present an opportunity in for businesses, especially such as yours, in the entire rural market that we're looking at, which is still so underserved? Or does that present a challenge?
So I think I need to qualify that tweet because I'm actually now not sure that they might not come back because it's like gravity.
Okay,
A liquid will, if they don't get enough income,
right. They
then
will have
they,
to.
yeah, see, it's a paradox for them.
Yeah,
The societal and the social fabric is stronger. They perhaps have a maybe a more spacious house,
yeah,
uh, but the income is pathetic.
right.
Here, I think they earn money, but they're away from their loved ones. I mean, just imagine the security guards around you.
Yeah, such
All of
lonely
them
life.
are all of them are away from their families for 11 months,
Exactly.
which I think is really we should all feel sad about it. So I'm not, to be honest, I'm not clear about this. I may have said that, but then part of me also say that if they earn one third of what they earn in the cities, and they've gotten used to a certain lifestyle, even though it is low,
Yeah,
they might have to come back. But some may stay back, some may rediscover the joys of the rural world and may
yeah,
find refuge in farming.
right.
But let's see.
But isn't this an opportunity to reinvent the rural market as well? And the role of laptops and computers.
Hmm.
If we get better connectivity, what are the possibilities? Aren't they endless?
See, a market depends on two factors:
Yeah,
need and a buying purchasing capability.
right,
So, uh, smartphones had both the things going for,
right.
right? Which is why Lenovo also got into.
Yeah,
That is why Motorola is still fighting it out, which is a Lenovo company. But if you look at computers, I think beyond the youth, people were not sure about the need.
hmm.
And it is still an expensive product. A good laptop still costs you at least 30,000 rupees.
Yeah,
So I think that rural market, the village penetration is less than 2% by the way for PCs.
right.
The top four metros is 50%. So the opportunity is there, but it all depends on people's income. I think more and more people are talking about computer as an important product. And if you look around you, anybody who can afford a PC now is buying.
Right.
Earlier, even if they could afford, they were saying, let me think, let me
Yeah.
see, maybe one PC for the family of five or four. So that is happening. But rural, I think we have a long way to go, to be honest, on the computer front.
What are the innovations that are possible?
Innovations are a you know a 10-inch laptop which is always connected, which can also work as a phone at half the price.
Yeah,
They
that
say
would
the
be
best.
ideal.
Yeah, they say the best innovation is double the features, half the price.
Right.
Um, but I think at a more uh, tangible, possible level, uh, schools in rural can
Yeah.
rural schools start teaching um, through technology?
Yeah.
Can they all have PC labs?
Yeah.
And I think this is where government will have to play a role. So government had a big initiative of Digital India. So maybe it's time to revive that and put a lot of money on technology, bandwidth, um, techno, technology in education, and also affordability. If we all say that, you know, you can educate people better on computers because then the internet is open
Yeah,
and then your course curriculum can come from anywhere.
exactly.
Then why not give income tax exemption on PC purchase if you have children between, let's say, 12 to 18,
Hmm.
you know? I think those are the kind of initiatives that we can do. From the private sector, what we can do is build up some appetite to give it on credit.
Yeah,
Can I have a 3-year monthly payment, which today no finance company wants to do.
right,
It's at best they're saying, hey, 1 year, maybe 2 years for the high-end products. If I see that the person has enough net worth,
right.
I think these are some of the things that can happen.
What about the empowerment of women and, the entrepreneurial possibilities of having, say, the dream of having a laptop in every home?
See, we've gone down that path. We've done
Yeah,
enough campaigns to say that, hey, you can take your business global,
yeah.
selling online. So you may be a one-man army, but you can expand, and you can do a whole lot of things. And not just Lenovo, other our good friends,
Everyone has.
everyone has done. It has gone to a certain extent,
Right.
not beyond that. And sometimes consumer behavior is like God's behavior. You can't understand, but you have to accept it.
Right. What are the lessons that you've learned personally and professionally from the lockdown?
Uh, Again, as I said, I'm trying. I keep telling myself not to change my life principles because of something that has happened. But I think if I look at personally, um, I used to believe that I'm a deep extrovert, and extroverts get their energy from people around them.
Right.
I discovered that I may not be that big an extrovert. I've been happy 3 months in my room.
Right.
So this whole MBTI analysis, I think, needs to be revisited. Um, Second, I think I thought I'm a foodie and I need outside food every second day.
Hmm.
I don't need. I eat because it's available. Because I travel, then you have to eat.
Right.
So I think those are some of the personal things. Third, I thought that four of us in the house all the time will start biting each other. No, that has not happened yet.
I think you speak for a lot of families which have rediscovered each other.
Yeah, and I think it's gone both ways.
Some have wanted to stay away from each other.
Yeah, so I've enjoyed actually. I really love, getting some little snippets of time doing lunch together with my
Right.
wife. Professionally, a lot. I always knew it, but now I've seen that I can get out of 30% of the meetings,
Hmm.
and there'll be no impact on the output.
Right.
So I've been doing less meetings. Number two, I think it's a lesson for all of us that uh, things can work without people having to come to office.
Yeah.
Finally, commerce has to happen because people have to give value to each other,
Right.
and that doesn't mean face to face. You
Yeah.
know, so you can do that. Third, I think trust is not a choice;
Yeah.
it's a necessity. And that's very important because you can't keep checking on your people, hey, are you online, and this and that.
Yeah.
And fourth is, I think, your management of metrics has to become more stricter,
Right.
and you have to be very clear what do you really want from your employees. So the annual goal setting used to be a little flimsy, but I think when you don't see somebody, you have to only see the output.
Right.
So I think those are some of the things that we are learning. Then travel, so much of travel is unnecessary.
Right.
If I have to go to Delhi, it's a 6 hour one way one from house to house.
Yeah.
So many queues, so much of traffic,
Right.
so much of nonsense, honestly, and then 6 hours back.
Right.
And sometimes I would do that just for two meetings.
Right.
So I think we can cut down two-thirds of our travel. We can cut down one-third of our office space, and we can trust people 2x the time, 2x the amount we trusted. So I think these learnings are happening. Some of them will kind of get balanced as we go back to the normal life. A lot of people will say, I love office. The same people who are saying, and therefore I want to watch my words.
Right.
When maybe I need to be more careful of what I tweet because sometimes I tweet my emotions.
No, no, please go ahead. Don't stop. It's very rare to have a CEO who speaks his mind.
So maybe, people will go back, and we human beings have a tendency to go back to their routine very,
Right.
very fast.
Right.
Human beings also have a tendency to overplay the future. The sky is always falling. The sky has never fallen, and the sky will never fall. But the sky is always falling,
Right.
right? So these are insights about us that we should, you know, remember and keep evolving. I think it's good to observe your own thoughts. My
Right.
own thoughts, by the way, keep changing sometimes.
Right.
You
That's
know,
perfectly normal. Yeah.
yeah.
Just a quick word on some of the initiatives that Lenovo has taken, even in terms of selling the product. I noticed something called Lenovo on Wheels, where you're actually now going to potential customers and selling laptops as well. How is that working out?
So we just started doing that in Bangalore.
Right.
It's got good response. It's expensive proposition because you have to invest in all this branding and
Right.
buses and more people. So I would say it sounds very good. It looks very neat, and customers love it. But we have to see whether it's commercially viable all over the country.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we may be able to do it in top cities because its density is high and the van can move from one place to another. But we will definitely do a little more than what we're doing now on that.
And I wanted to ask, because I love to ask this of all people, of all CEOs in Bangalore, what is it in Bangalore's air that breeds so much independence and sort of, integrity of thought and action?
Oh, I think you're giving too much of credit to this city. See, I moved here 21 years ago.
Okay.
I grew up in Delhi, so I still I'm a Delhi guy. I still love it when I land in Delhi. But Bangalore is a very convenient place. It's a less judgmental uh,
Right.
and more professional.
Right.
See, MNCs all said and done, they do bring in a certain degree of professionalism.
Right.
And there isn't a Fortune 500 company who doesn't have a big office in Bangalore.
Right.
So to that extent, I think uh, uh, culture is better. There are a lot of people who have come back uh, after living abroad.
Right.
They come with a different mindset of non-interference, of you know. Um, but it's very difficult to generalize a city. I think there are enough things, Kaveri, that frustrate me in Bangalore too.
Only traffic. That's the only thing.
So you live in Delhi, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. It's been really good to have you with us, Rahul. Thank you for always speaking your mind. Please continue to do so on Twitter. Don't stop. And all the very best. And I hope Lenovo goes places during the lockdown and after.
No, thank you again for having me here. And you asked some very good questions that made me think. So thank you for a good interactive session.
Thank you very much. See you
Bye.
soon.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.